Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Girls Lounge with your hosts, Liz and KT. And before we get into the episode, make sure you guys read the book club book before the episode that will be posted on October 15th. We are reading Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. So go read it so you can listen to that episode and kind of join our little book club.
Yes, I finally started the book. I'm getting through it. This book, honestly, it has a lot of, because it's like anecdotes from her life, and it's definitely interesting. You're definitely not going to be reading a boring book. Trust me, you guys. So get on that and read the book.
What Liz said. And now, time for our episode. Obviously, the theme is going to be our sports girl lore, but obviously, we'll get into that more a little bit. We wanted this episode to just be one where you guys can just know a little bit more about us and Liz from back in the day. But before we get into all that, we're gonna get into what we've been up to. So honestly, for me, nothing much. School has me hostage, like always. Like I swear, this week has been a blur. I've had like two bad group project experiences, like group assignments during class. I'm like, I hate this, but it makes the other like group like assignments I've had that were good, like just it hit more because I was just like, oh, finally a good group. So yeah, that's that. But little tangent, it's like still amazes me how people get up to higher education and you can tell like they just have no type of school habits. Like I'm just like, how are you gonna make it in this world? But I digress. And then I'm just happy that it's October finally. Like, yay! All things spooky, all things hopefully getting colder soon. In Kentucky, it's still hot. But yeah, I'm just so excited for October, spooky season, Halloween, and just finally like fall activities. Hopefully, I feel like every weekend except for like this weekend, I might have stuff to do. Oh, actually, no. Wait, anyways, I don't know. So I'm excited because it's all going to be fun things.
Yes, it's officially fall, and I don't know if it's just me, like, gaslighting myself, but I feel like when I've been out earlier in the morning, like before 10, or like out in the evening, even like, I don't know, 9, it's kind of starting to feel a little chillier, a little light long sleeve moment. I'm probably just gaslighting myself, but I hope that the cold is here. And then for me, also, just really not much has been going on. I've been doing this week a lot of like little hobbies. It's been the week of hobbies. I've been doing some of my coloring, really getting into that, trying to add like different designs to it from the people on TikTok, what they be doing, inspiring me. I've also been reading. I started reading, obviously, the book club book, but then I'm also reading Remarkably Bright Creatures. And so far, I'm like liking it. I'm waiting for things to start connecting in the plot because I feel like there's a lot. I'm getting introduced to all these characters, but they haven't really like met one another yet. So I've been doing a lot of like just reading in the mornings and in the evenings. And then, yeah, that's all I've been up to. Oh, I did have my second little religion class with those first graders. And definitely still full of energy, but I had some more like activities for them, so I think that kind of helped out. But they're just full of energy. We went outside. One of them was like running up and down the hill when I was like, nope, we're supposed to stay in the pavement, stay in the pavement. But it's a work in progress. But next week is fall break, so we won't be meeting until 2 weeks from now. So we'll see if they kind of mellow out a little bit. I have low hopes for that though.
I'm so weak. I just need to see Elizabeth working with these little kids so bad. Like I like Elizabeth, she about the height of a little kid, so I feel like, she would feel right. But I'm just like, maybe you need an energy drink so you could be running up and down the hills with them.
Yeah, and then they definitely think that they got jokes because we had like a news person. So I was like, okay, like introduce yourselves again. So like you can get all of our names and you can get his name. And then one of them was like calling himself Mr. and then his name. And then one of them wasn't even saying their name. They're like, my name's Bob, Mr. Bob. I was like, okay, new person, I guess. Yeah, they're definitely very creative and they're just I feel like it's definitely because like they've been in school all day, like they're like they don't want to sit. And obviously I understand that, but it's a lot.
Oh, that is so funny. So now we're gonna get into our faves of the week. So mine is my iPad games and True Fruit. Like you guys, I've been an iPad kid more than like usual lately. Like I already use my iPad for like school, so you would think like, ugh, I don't want to see this thing. But no, as soon as school is over or I get a break, I play a game. I'll tell you guys what I've been doing. Happy color obviously. And then recently, I downloaded Township because I was listening to Pretty Basic, and Alicia convinced me. I haven't started yet, but I do have it ready. And then I've been doing the sorting game. And then I have Perfect Tidy and My Supermarket, where you kind of like run your own supermarket. So I'm super excited, and maybe next week I'll give you guys an update on that. And then True Fruit, I just tried it for the first time last week, when my parents were gone, because like when we did grocery shopping, I was like, I'll try it. And then I was like, wait, I really love this. So then I got some more for this week, and I got the same raspberry ones, and then the banana ones with like the peanut butter and chocolate. So freaking good. So if you kind of want like healthier like dessert fruit type beat, get True Fruit. Tastes really good.
I haven't tried the banana one, but I've been seeing it on my For You page lately. Might have to try it because I do like the raspberry, I do like the strawberry, but something about frozen bananas, and then if it has peanut butter too, Kenny understands. And then my favorite of the week this week, I've been doing a lot of like cooking in the kitchen this week. So if you guys have been listening to the podcast, I've been doing baking. I've been trying to bake something week. And then this week I did some cooking, and honestly, I liked it. There was one night, it was Dancing with the Stars night, because I remember I had dancing. My goal was to finish before Dancing with the Stars. I didn't end up finishing making. I didn't end up finishing cooking everything, so I was watching it while I was, chefing it up in the kitchen. But I was like making like three different recipes and stuff. Honestly, I think it's very therapeutic being in the kitchen, whether it be baking or cooking, because you're doing something productive. You're also eating something healthier, instead of eating out. So nice and fun to do. Definitely, there's some points where I'm like, I just messed this up, but it ends up turning out pretty okay, So it's something.
No, because her and our friend Kelsey, they've been making like these marinated eggs. I said, yep. Send me the recipe. Like, it's funny because I feel like we all just kind of like inspire each other. I'm like, yeah, okay, they cook it. Let me get into the kitchen and start cooking.
No, because we truly are each other's influencers, and I everything we do, we influence each other.
No, that part is so funny. Oh, also speaking of that, I meant to say earlier, you guys, that like with Elizabeth's coloring, I'm like, like maybe I should be more creative with my coloring, because like I don't be trying to be fancy with all them extra designs. Like I literally just be like, okay, I'm gonna color it in that color, and that's that. Like I don't be thinking of like, oh, let me put dots here, let me put stripes here. I just be like, boom, boom, boom. So I'm like, maybe I should get a little bit more creative, see where I can go.
Trust, my creativeness is not even nothing crazy. I'll add like to some of the animals, I'll add like another shade in there, like some patches. I'll do like little dots. The most creative thing I did this week is there was one drawing that had like floor, and I kind of added like a tile looking to it. And I was very scared that I was going to ruin the whole page. And it didn't turn out looking bad. So I don't do nothing crazy though, like the shadowing. And then when they do like the lines to make part, yeah. Some people are really, really creative, and kudos to them, but I fear that is not me.
But see, even the towel idea, like that ain't so bad.
Trust, I was inspired by TikTok.
And now we're gonna get into Sports Corner. So, you guys, it was just the Singapore Grand Prix, so we are going to be talking about that today. We have a lot to talk about. It was definitely an eventful race. So, honestly, I don't have much to say about quali. Honestly, I kind of fell asleep through it. Like I was going in and out just because I don't know why. I don't know. But it ended with, actually I forgot. So I'm gonna skip that. It doesn't really matter. Oh, the main thing is George, he finished pole position, so that was very good. Or not like very good because I don't root for Mercedes, but it was definitely like, oh, like he's there. My McLarens weren't looking too hot, neither were my Ferraris. I mean, they were up there in the top 10, but they weren't in the spots they usually were. But yeah, but that was quality. I know there's a little drama because Max thought Lando was the reason that he didn't get the best lap time, but that's neither here or there after what happened with this race. But of course, you guys, from the beginning of us talking about F1, I've always just said lap one always just has the craziest stuff. And lap one basically took over this whole race because that caused some McLaren papaya rules team drama to come into question. Essentially, Lando kind of went to overtake Oscar and he made contact. Now, I don't necessarily know how to feel about it because, in my opinion, I don't think Lando did anything wrong, because I mean, he was racing, it was a racing incident, and at the same time, Oscar has the right to be upset, because I would be upset too. But I definitely think my frustration is with the team, because this is not the first time Lando has hit Oscar. This has not been the first time. Like, the roles have also been reversed, where Oscar kind of does something and it's like, okay, Oscar, what are you doing? So I just think it really, the problem lies with just kind of like the whole team orders thing. Now, honestly, I don't think one of them is necessarily better than the other. I think Oscar has had a stronger season, but I don't know. I would say they're kind of on par for drivers. So I understand not having a number one driver, but I definitely do think the papaya rules was too broad. I think I feel like the rules were kind of like not necessarily like, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know. I just think they need some re-looking over with, because it's just like, yes, they should race and that's what they're doing, but at the same time, like, there should be something in place to kind of avoid them having to make contact with each other.
I agree. I think we're getting to that point in like both of these drivers' careers where they're both competing like fairly at the same level. Like Kenny said, there's not one driver that's necessarily ahead. Like as we've seen literally this whole season. That was the word season. It'd be one race, one of them's ahead, the other one is ahead, but they're basically all the races they've been racing against each other. There's been very few races where they're really competing against all the other drivers. So I definitely think we're at that point where it's like both of these drivers want to win, and McLaren's gonna have to step in and be the bigger guy, obviously, because they are the boss. Like the drivers are gonna do what they tell them to do at the end of the day, whether they like it or not. Like that's who their contract is with. So I think it's going to be more so McLaren needs to get in there and start being firm about what their rules are, or like how they're going to move forward, because it's only going to get like, I don't want to say worse. I don't know if worse is the right word, but it's only going to get like these issues are only going to heighten as the season continues and into later seasons. When they're getting better, they're doing their thing, the cars are improving, but the rules aren't changing. So I think, and I don't even know if the rules necessarily need to change, but they just need to be not so wishy-washy, because I feel like that's where we get the POV that like one driver is favored more than the other, when it be switching roles in like different scenarios.
Yeah, I agree. I think the part about like, okay, so when are you gonna prioritize one driver over another? I feel like that's where the issue lies, because yes, we've seen Lando swap for Oscar. We've seen Oscar swap for Lando. But in this situation, it's just like, okay, so who are you guys gonna side with? Because I mean, technically Oscar was in front, but then I mean, Lando also did race him and he got up in front. And so it's just kind of like, so McLaren, what are you going to do now? I think this is where, honestly, Andrea Stella should probably step in, since he is the team principal. But if you're obviously in the F1 community, you probably all know, kind of like the running joke, the kind of way everyone thinks, like, Andrea Stella, like, that's Oscar's man. Like, that's his spokesperson. That's, like, Oscar his favorite. And then Zach Brown, the CEO, like, Lando's his favorite. Like, he kind of helped Lando get into the sport. Like, he's been with Lando since the beginning of like his time in F1. Lando has only ever been with McLaren, so you know there's kind of that thing, and like Lando has been part of the project to bring in McLaren to where it is now. So it definitely is a tricky situation, and I mean, they both have Lando and Oscar under a multi-year contract. Like, I don't think either of them will be going anytime soon, but it will be interesting to see, like, okay, so after kind of this season, this race, how are we going to move forward to really like put into place, like, okay, how are we going to handle things like this in the future, because it definitely just has been wishy-washy.
And I think what was even more like telling of the Singapore race compared to other races where they've had these issues is that this happened lap one. Like we weren't even halfway through the race, because like other races, it's been like, okay, this driver has been like racing this way. They've consistently been like three-quarters of the way they've been in the lead. We're prioritizing this driver this time, you know. But this race, I cannot speak today. This race, it was only lap one. So it's like you really only have to go on the couple seconds of lap one and quali. So definitely it's going to be very challenging for them. It's going to be interesting what they do or what they don't do and how it excels and gets from there.
Yeah, but on the bright side for McLaren, they did officially win the the constructors team championship, because I mean no one's catching up at this point, so that's really exciting. Back-to-back championships. A little sad because the original celebration on the podium, Oscar was not there. I've seen different conflicting views about it, because some people were saying like, oh, like Oscar wasn't media, or like, you know, Oscar like was upset. I don't think Oscar, a part of him, wanted to even be a part of that, because there's a clip of him cutting off the radio when Zach Brown was like over saying basically like congratulations. So honestly, maybe Oscar was like, forget this. And I will say, obviously, they do more of a celebration also after the races. Like a lot of teams like do just with like themselves in their garage, and the pit crew and all that stuff. So I honestly haven't really looked into those videos too much, but I mean, Oscar put a smile on his face, and I'm sure after a good talk between everyone, everything will be better for Austin. But yeah, that's one positive. But I'm like, Oscar, I vote for you so bad. And it was funny because the cool down room is like one of my favorite things about F1, like the access we can to see them. And like towards the end, George asked something about Oscar, but then of course that was like the cutoff for the cool down room. And I was like, no, keep filming. We need to see more. Are they gonna discuss more about Oscar? Like, I need to know the tea.
All I know is that the McLaren PR team, they are working overtime because first they have like the race scandal, then they have the celebration scandal, and then the locker room stuff. Yeah, the PR team, no sleep for them. I hope that they're getting their money's worth.
They are scrambling. But yeah, let us know down below what you guys think about this McLaren situation. Because yeah, it's definitely a woozy. I can't wait to see what all my F1 podcasts have to say about that. And then now, honestly, on to more not so controversial news. It was really funny. Speaking of radios, a radio I thought that was funny from this race was Fernando Alonso. I guess his engineer was talking too much to him, and he said, "If you speak to me every lap, I will disconnect the radio." I said, "Period." I didn't even know they could like do that until this race, but I'm like, that is so funny, and that is so me. If I was a driver, I'd be like, "Oh, you're talking too much. I'm gonna disconnect you."
I will always say the best part of the race is not the race itself, it is the radio because we get to see everything. It's so unfiltered, like these drivers, they're not really thinking like PR thinking. They're in the heat of the moment. They're going to say what is on their minds. I also loved the clips of, I think it was when, yeah, it was the clips of when Lando and Charles, their whole little like mini crash scene, who's at fault, that kind of thing. But the best part for me was Charles's face, how you can only see his eyes, but his eyes, he's like hiding in like laughter, and the smirk that he did. Yeah, I just love the drivers in their natural state when they have no BS. They are fully showing how they're feeling.
Yeah, and I love when like watching the broadcast of the race, when like sometimes they pop up random radios that are just like, what was the purpose of that? And I can't remember at this moment, but I feel like it was like Ollie Behrman or something, and they're asking about their tires, or maybe it was Stroll, I don't know. But it was so funny because like the commentators were just talking about something else, and then all of a sudden we just hear their voice be like, "Oh, these tires feel like I've been on them for like 100 laps or something." It was just like so funny because it was just so like a driver complaining, and I love it. So that was something funny. And then also another thing of good news, I guess, is Sainz went from P18 to P10, aka he got into the points. I know it's kind of rough for Williams because they got disqualified from quali, obviously, but were allowed to participate in the race because of some inspection thing they failed. They always have to get their cars looked at, like before and after stuff. To make sure it's all within the regulations, and obviously they failed something. And I was like, of course. After the good weekend, the last weekend with Carlos on the podium, of course, we just have to have this bad luck. That's just how it always happens with Williams. It's up and down. But at least Carlos fought his way up into the points.
Yes, a win is a win. Like going from 18 to 19 in Singapore too, where like there's not much room to overtake and everything. Yeah, Carlos, he did his thing.
That part. And then the race ended with Russell P1, which was really impressive of George. Again, I'm not a Merc fan, but honestly, I still root for George and Kimmy when like they're both doing their thing. If my like kind of McLarens I know aren't going to catch up, and definitely not my Ferraris. But I was like, yay, George, because I feel like people got a lot to say. I'm just like, Toto, sign his contract right now. Like, why is the season almost over and George technically like doesn't really have a seat? Like, nothing's in paper. I'm like, sign it. But yeah, it's really impressive because I don't think anyone in the last couple of years has won Singapore in from the pole position. So him winning from there and just keeping that lead, I was like, yes. I do think Max Verstappen was having some issues literally the whole race. That's fine. And so, but Max, I mean, he managed to handle or to keep that P2, and then of course Lando P3. I believe that was the correct order. But yeah, so honestly, it was a pretty good race. It did kind of get a little boring. No, not boring, but like uneventful in the kind of middle part. There were some like back battles, like midfield battles, but I'm like, sometimes I'm just like, what's the point? Because they're not getting no points. But you know, kudos to them. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting race. One thing I do is like, ugh, I hate when the leaders at the front have to like lap themselves from like the back markers. It's just like, like you guys are in the way. Like I know it's not on purpose, but like get out the way. But yeah, those are kind of all of my comments from this race.
And with that, we're gonna go ahead and get into our little uh oh my gosh, my mind keeps blanking. A little point recap. So, if you guys didn't listen to our podcast last time or see the Instagram post, Kennedy is currently, before the Singapore points have been added in, is at 226 and I'm at 154. And then following Singapore, I'll summarize my points. I gained 4 points and then I gained three. So I am now at 161 points. So we're slowly going up. You know, a win is a win and I'm taking it.
Yes. And then I have 230 points. I gained 4 points from Oscar. Poor Esteban, Esty Bestie. He did not get me any points, but I did see recently he did a magazine shoot or something. I was like, period. You better serve. Yeah, and that's the end of Sports Corner. And so now we're gonna get into our pop culture. We kind of have a decent amount of things to talk about today. So first is Bad Bunny is going to be the halftime performer at the next Super Bowl, which I'm like, period. I love some of his songs that I've heard. It is interesting though. Like I was surprised he would do it just because of everything that's going on in the country, and like he's not touring here because of it. But I guess it makes sense. Like it's only a certain people who are really going to the Super Bowl, like people who are football fans. I mean, there might be some crossover in the crowd, but it's probably just gonna be like people who really just want to see football and then like influencers. So, but I like it because it's like, I don't know how to necessarily put this into words, but it's like, yes, he should be there. I don't know how to like put it into words, but basically, I'm just like, this is what we need to see. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want these people that the MAGA people will want to see. Like, no, we need to see like artists that kind of like rebel in a way. Like their existence is kind of like rebelling what's going on. And just like in the past, you know, we've had these black artists and, you know, people still had a problem with that. So it's like, period. Y'all was mad about that. Let's get a Puerto Rican up in there. Y'all be even more mad about that. So I love it.
No, same. I am excited. I will definitely be sad. I always be sad during the halftime shows, but even more so this year, I will be sad during the halftime show. I do think that it's already like he's already like rebelling and like starting conversations, you know, even without the show having happened. So imagine like when the show actually happens, the conversations and the stuff that he's gonna be saying. I've gotten so many clips on my For You page of people saying like he should drop like this clip, and it's like, I don't know, like a little clip of like Trump saying something, and they're like, he needs to use this in his halftime show. And I know he's gonna do something because he's definitely like, he's not, like Kennedy said, he's not touring in the US. Like this is his only US concert, and it's not even a concert, it's the halftime show. So it's very interesting that he would even like accept to say it. And I know Kennedy's seen it, all the hate that he's already getting. Everybody's like, he's not even American, like blah blah blah. Like Puerto Rico is a territory, like he is American. It's just like all like the stuff that that's already starting. And I know he is not gonna speak no English during this show. And I think it's gonna be so interesting, the conversations that come out of it. So February, I will be sat for this halftime show. Trust.
And it's funny because I saw a tweet that was like, those same people who are mad that he's performing are probably going to be at a Mexican restaurant sometime this week.
Yes, and then I saw one where it was like, where was the energy towards like the people who like actually aren't from the US, like Shakira, Coldplay, and like it was like a long list of all these people who are not like US citizens or anything, and they were halftime performers, but there was no energy to them. But now that it's someone that's like outright like more different, I feel like now it's when it starts, especially with this political climate. It will be very interesting, but I just know he's gonna kill it on that halftime show. He's gonna shut them up real quick.
That part. And listen, I'm not going to know what he's saying, but I'm going to be up there moving like this.
And that is perfectly fine. That is the whole point of it. And then our next little pop culture thing is this is for the 1D girlies. Zayn Malik and Louis Tomlinson are going to be doing a little 3-part road trip docu series, and I am so excited for this. I didn't realize it was going to be a 3-part to it. I did know it was going to be road trip, and something about a road trip like documentary, I already love it because it's giving more like vlog style. And then with like the story between them, like where we haven't really seen the 1D boys like out and about like this. And then for them to be doing this, it is going to be so good. I am so excited. I know that they're gonna be going like throughout the US and everything. And it's officially just them two. But I was talking to Kelsey about this. I was like, so they just basically need to go to like, they need to plan it out so they're in the cities whenever Harry is doing one of his little marathons so that they're there in the crowd and then we get to see him. A little cameo moment. But I'm so excited. I think it's gonna be so good. Like I said, I love vlog style, which is I feel like this is what it's gonna give. And this is healing the 1D girlies' hearts.
I really do hope that Harry and or Niall can make an appearance at some part. Cause it's just like I feel like why not? I feel like everyone probably in that group after Liam's death can definitely I feel like they definitely could have had a reflective moment that's like, oh, like maybe we shouldn't let all these things like get in our way of coming back together. Cause like now it's like already kind of too late, like, cause life happens. And so I just really hope somehow it could work in Harry and Niall's schedule. That they can like somehow join it. I don't know what Zayn and Louis have like in store for like what this road trip is gonna cover, but I just hope that some way somehow we can somehow get some type of like closure, just something with all four of them together now.
And surely they can just, pull up at the set of The Voice, go see Niall too. They have to make it happen because they're literally going throughout the whole US. Like, and it's a 3-part. So surely we get even just 5 minutes. 5 minutes would be enough for me. Please.
And I'm like, Harry won't be hard to find. Him and Zoe Kravitz are walking everywhere.
They can just get in talks with the paparazzi and then they'll find them. And then our next little news thing is, of course, the day we're recording this, breaking the fourth wall here, is the day that the Life of the Showgirl Taylor Swift's new album came out. Have you listened to it yet, Kennedy?
I have not, but I do plan to listen to it this weekend. So next episode, I will definitely be able to come in with more of my thoughts.
I listened to it this morning after I took a shower and everything, and I don't think it was my cup of tea. I don't think it's controversial because I like refreshed my TikTok and it's all these people are like coming out with their thoughts now, and everybody seems to be aligning with me. I don't know. I just feel like I'll give like a quick summary of my thoughts and then we can deep dive more next week when everybody's listened to it and Kennedy has too. I feel like it was just lacking. I don't know. It was giving kind of like we really saw the age differences between like us and like Taylor and everything, and it just wasn't giving what I needed to. I don't think I will be adding any songs personally to my playlists or listening it too much more.
Yeah, everyone's like thoughts about it make me a little scared because like she said it was gonna be a pop album, and you guys know I've really been in my pop era this year, so I'm expecting a very like poppy album. So I'm kind of hearing that it's not really that vibe, so it makes me a little scared. I have seen some like theories online about how one of the songs is allegedly about Charlie XCX. Like, they kind of have some beef. I think Charlie is like close with Maddie Healy, so like that would kind of make sense. And then it was funny because I saw some people trolling, of course, and they're like Taylor kind of dumbed down the lyrics so Travis could understand, which I was like, that's funny because I think in one of her songs she's like, "I'm not a savage" and da 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 da, but it's like, "I'm not a savage." Like it's very like a lyrical way, and it's just like sounds a little cringe. So I just thought that was funny.
Yes, like I got the vibe that some of the songs, it was like parts of it were like, how she does like her lyrically like deep stuff where it's like, oh my gosh, yes, she's speaking facts. But then she would throw in these one-liners where I'm like, we went from this to this. It just didn't make sense to me. But like I said, I feel like sometimes on your second not rewatch, your second listen through, things grow on you. I don't think it'll be personally growing on me much. That's the summary of my thoughts.
Yeah, we'll see how I feel after listening to it this weekend, and then I'll for sure we can really, really, really deep dive. And I'm sure about next week there will be even more theories and things we can like deep dive into. So yeah, Liz, do you have any more thoughts about the album?
No, that's the extent of my thoughts.
Okay, so now we're gonna get into what we've been watching. I'll go first because, like always, like I just watch too much TV. So first, finished season 2 of My Life with the Walter Boys. That ending was crazy. It's literally the Olivia song, the Olivia Rodrigo song, where it's like 3 step forward, 2 steps back. Yeah, that's like we made all this progress, and then it just progressed, and it made me so mad. And genuinely, I could just go in a whole rant of like why the whole argument that if you're Team Conrad, your Team Cole does just like not exist. Because I genuinely, for a moment, I was like, I genuinely don't know why people are Team Cole. Like he's so whiny, he's so annoying. But I digress. Next I watched Mr. and Mrs. Murder, which was like a four part documentary series on Hulu, but I have Disney Plus Hulu, so I just be watching it on that. About essentially, long story short, there's this couple who are friends with another couple in Tallahassee, Florida. So, a little southern couple. All four of them grew up very religious, and essentially, the guy from one couple and the girl from the other couple started to like kind of have like an affair, and then one of the husbands ends up dead, and it's like believed like, oh, like the alligators ate him because like the swamp, Florida. It obviously turned out to be a lie, and it's just a really crazy story, so I highly recommend it. And then Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, been catching up on that. All I have to say is Lisa and these freaking lawsuits, I swear. When are the housewives, like, wait, can y'all hear the lawnmower? I hope not. It is. So Lisa, like, I swear every housewife is like always in some financial trouble. I'm still on Stranger Things, of course. I'm on the best season 3. I like am at the part where Hopper and Joyce like just kind of like kidnapped the Russian guy with the slushy, which I'm like so sad because I know his end is coming in a couple episodes, so it's so sad to see. But I just love that season so much. Like Erica, the star you are, so iconic. And then of course Desperate Housewives. You guys, I'm at the end of season 2. If you know, you know. I just watched the saddest episode last night. All I have to say is Gabby and baby Lily being taken away. You guys, I literally started crying. And then Dancing with the Stars. Obviously, our recap is going to kind of be a little outdated, but we're going to be talking about episode 3. Why is Lauren gone? I know Elizabeth is going to kind of like combine into that, so that's all I'll say for now.
And I've just been watching. So yesterday I like spent the day like coloring and things. I want to preface. So when I like color into like my other, or when I was cooking and stuff, I would have a background TV show on. I just want to preface this into my next what I was watching. So I was watching Stranger Things. I finally finished season 2, and then yesterday I started season 3. And somehow by the end of the day, I had finished season 3. Yeah, so I like ran through it. It's so good. I swear the episodes in season 3 are not long enough, because I would like start an episode and it'd be like, okay, like 55 minutes. You're like, okay, that's long. But it's like 5 minutes of credits and then like the intro and stuff. So it's really just like 45 to 50 minutes of the show, which is like normal show length. That is not long enough for season 3. These episodes are so good. Like Kennedy said, Erica, the Scoops Troop, Never Ending Story. There's just so much nostalgia to that season. And I really, 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 really hope that we get like some of that nostalgia and those characters in the new season that's coming out. Like, I want to see more of Erica, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like season 4, we didn't get to see her like too much, as much as we did in season 3. So I really hope in this new season we get to see her more, and like Robin and everyone, because they're just, the characters are so good, the friendships, the dynamics. Chef's Kiss, the best season. Don't argue with me, because you are wrong if you don't think it's the best season. And then the other thing I was gonna say was, another thing about season 3 that I realized, it just shows you like how much sooner I feel like they could solve issues if they came together. Because everybody's like, you got Hopper and Joyce, you got like Will and all of them, you got the Scoops Troop. Everybody has like a piece to the puzzle, but they don't know that like the big landscape of this puzzle, because they haven't like come together literally the entire season until the end. So I'm like, imagine if you guys, like work together from the very beginning, y'all would be saving work. Maybe Billy wouldn't even be dead. Things like that. But did finish season 3 in one day. So there's that. And then the other thing I was watching was, of course, Dancing with the Stars. I finally caught up. I like watched episodes 1 and 2. I caught up on them on Monday, and then Tuesday, of course, watched live and everything. And I agree with Kennedy. Justice for Lauren, because how did she go from having very decent scoring and like placements in episodes 1 and 2 to getting eliminated on episode 3? The math was not mathing. I did think that the old guy, it might, it made sense if it was his time to go. And I feel like even he was surprised. Even he was surprised that he wasn't the one leaving. And then also Hilarious, whatever her name is. I do not like her because I don't understand why she's on this show. Because, it's Dancing with the Stars. I feel like she's not even much of a star. Like, we know her because of her husband, not because of her beauty, health guru, whatever it is that she does. And then also she was a professional dancer. Because okay, I know people argue that like some of the TikTokers like Charlie D'Amelio, like they have an advantage. I'm like, yes, but they don't ballroom dance, and that's completely different. Even like the mom talkers, the life with the Mormon moms, they're like, this is like completely different, I feel like that's different. But she was a ballroom dancer. Why is she on this show? She's the one who should have also left. But yeah, justice for Lauren, and I will advocate for her until I die.
That part, I'm just like why? Like I just feel like even one of the judges was like you're here to stay, and like I got spoiled because I just usually I can't watch it live because I'm doing like schoolwork and stuff, but I'm just like no, like I know she's leaving and like it genuinely does not make sense. And it's just the old man should be gone. I'm sorry. Like I understand like people say like, well, he is like the essence of like what Dancing with the Stars is really about. But I'm like, but it's like kind of sad because like he can't keep up. You know what I mean? And I feel like his partner is like dancing circles around him. Like it's like cute, but like bye bye. I don't know. I just hate it. Like they just had so much potential. Like I loved their dance last week. Like it literally was like she was floating around that stage and they just had so much potential, and like I just really love her stage presence, and I just really hate that. I just feel like it was probably not enough fan votes, which I'm like, y'all are racist. I'm playing, but I'm not playing. But I'm just like I just really loved her. So I hate that she's gone. Yeah, Hilaria and Gleb. I'm like, y'all both got bad energy. Get on my face. And so even though Gleb's hot, but like, listen, after watching Love Thy Nader, I cannot root for you, sir. And it's just like, oh god. I just really want Lauren, but on the bright side, we did get to see Robert Irwin with his shirt off. So
No, because when that happened, I screamed. I was like, "There's no way." Don't get me wrong. This might be a hot take. I feel like because they did all that, they like took away from like the dance itself, and that's why they scored lower than they had been, because they kind of like resorted to the body. And I'm not complaining. I was enjoying the whole show, but I feel like they took away from the dance by doing all that. So hopefully, they get back up there in the score rankings, back up to number one, number two, where they belong. Yeah. Also, I don't know if it was just me, but I feel like his facial hair was kind of like growing in a little bit more, but I could have been looking into it a little bit too much.
no, because like he had like a serious face on. I was like, yeah, that's a man. And then like I just feel amazing because he's like our age, so it's like so funny when I see people think like, oh my god, like he's so young, but I'm like, can't relate. He's our age, which actually I like looked it up specifically, and technically me and Liz are older than him because he was born in December of 2003. But so he will be so we're a couple months older, so I guess we're cougars. But yeah, I definitely do think like their performance was a bit more like a performance instead of like the technicality. Like I definitely do think their criticism was like valid when they replayed it. Like he definitely was stiff during some of the things. But I don't know. I would say my favorite dance honestly was Jordan Childs and Ezra. Like their dance was so good and just like the message behind it. And I'm a little biased because I love that song Anxiety, and like I can obviously relate to the story of having anxiety. And then I would say Whitney and what's his name? Mark? Is that his name?
I don't know. That sounds right though.
Yeah, Whitney and Mark Stevens. I say, yep. Second favorite dance, like, girl, you ate so bad.
No, because I know, like, apparently, like, on Life with the Mormons, the Mormon Wives show, that show, I know she's, like, the bad guy or whatever, but honestly, I like her. Like, I feel like she's doing really, really good. If any of the two wives make it, like, further, I hope it's her, because I feel like she's been killing it from the beginning. Like, she's really just, I really like watching her dance.
I agree. And then I also loved, I'm like, I like forget. I'm like, who else did I love? I also loved Alex and Val's dance because, I mean, I just love that song in general. So that was super good. Which Alex Earl, like, not gonna lie, she like really has impressed me. Like, I would think she would be more of like a stiff dancer, but like, period, she doing her thing.
And she definitely has those legs. She has the long, like, dancer legs. Yeah, she needs to use them more to her advantage.
I agree. And then also I really like Scott and Riley's dance. I think that was the other dance that like really stuck in my mind. Because I love the part where they're like in front of each other and they do like the clap down and then they do the rollover. I said, yep, that ate so
And
bad.
I love how they match each other's energy, how they're always being like, I don't know if they said slay, but I feel like they said like one of those words that's kind of like slay energy, you know? I don't know. I feel like they like really match each other's energies. And I'm very excited because next week is Disney night and they announced the songs that everybody's doing. And I am so excited for Riley and Scott, is that his name? Yeah, Riley and Scott, because they're doing Sharpay and oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name, Sharpay's brother, one of those songs.
Oh, Ryan.
Yes, Sharpay and Ryan, and I'm like, yes, they literally are them.
Oh, I need to like look and see what songs they're doing. I'm so excited. I'm gonna try this week to watch it live so I can get to voting because y'all are not gonna do anyone else I like dirty. Like I need to get up there. I've never voted before, but I will be.
No, because that part I never vote, but after those results last week, I will be voting. The hilarious stands, yeah, y'all better watch it because what are you guys voting for? You know, at this point, Dancing with the Stars is our new The Summer I Turned Pretty.
No, for real. It may be a little behind, but oh well. Deal with it.
And with that, we're gonna go ahead and get into our song of the week. So, Kennedy, you can go first on your song. Again, we just have different vibes for our songs.
So my song is "Tit for Tat" by Tate McRae. This came out like 2 weeks ago or something, and I love it. So I'm gonna play my favorite part of it. Hopefully, I can put all like the full part I like in it without getting demonetized. And apparently, it's supposed to be like a response to a song that Kid Leroy, I don't know, I don't listen to him there, which I'm like, T, I always love a good song with the backstory.
I forgot all about that name. And then my song of the week is What I Wanted from Taylor Swift's Pop album. It is Style by, of course, Taylor Swift, an iconic song. This is the energy that I personally needed. You got that and I'm just gonna continue listening to that album because that album has what I need.
And now it is time to travel back in time to our high school, middle school, even younger days and talk about our sports girl lore. Now, I'm going to do a little disclaimer just like we did, just in case when we did our high school episode. I mean, I don't think we're necessarily going to talk about like people and stuff like that, but just in case we do, in case we lead there, listen, we're not gonna say any names. We are not disparaging, all the legal stuff. It's just all for fun. Let's just leave it there because you never know who's lurking. So yeah, but like I said, we're just gonna be talking about our sports girl lore.
And if you are lurking, go ahead and follow and like.
Right, if you're gonna lurk, you might as well follow us, like us, leave a review if it's 4/5 stars. Like, come on, be an active lurker.
And we basically have this divided into like little different segments. So we're going to touch base on each segment as we normally do and then give both of our like insights. And yeah, hopefully you guys also get to know it's a little bit more in a different manner. So our first little like topic is where the sports lore began. For me personally, I like was always doing like sports, I feel like, or like doing some type of active exercise activity because my mom was like, y'all aren't gonna stay home and do nothing. But I was never like, just because I did it does not mean I was like a follower, you know? I was never like deep into it, like looking things up. And even when I did it, I was never like super competitive. I was like okay at it. I wasn't bad or anything, but I wasn't like the best of the best, you know? It was more so I did it because I enjoyed it and nothing else about it. And I knew I wasn't gonna like excel at it as a career, as a profession type, you know? It was just a little hobby, if you say.
Yeah, I would say that's the same for me. My parents were like, you're going to do something. You're not going to sit at home. So I feel like when I was younger, just like in general, my interests were always in gymnastics, dance, and cheerleading, specifically all-star cheerleading. If you know, you know. And so I remember when I was younger, I was in gymnastics. Honestly went through gymnastics like a couple of times. Like I did it like at the YMCA, and then a couple years later, I did it also at like an actual gymnastics place. And then one year I did dance, which I'm like, I always think like I dance should have been my sport, but it's like there's nowhere in Kentucky where it's like there's good dancing, you know what I mean? Like I wanted like the dancing, not dancing, the dance moms experience. Like I wanted to do like that type of competitive dance, da da da. But like we don't have that in Kentucky, and like nowhere near here, so like that wouldn't have been possible. So my future child will be in dancing, but while I do think that all star cheer, just cheerleading in general, seemed to be like the sport that stuck. So yeah, I just did cheer a lot of the times, but I would say when I was younger, like it was like gymnastics was my thing.
Kennedy just took me down memory lane of the YMCA classes. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we were competing against each other or like in the same class at some point. But yes, the YMCA, and then like they would put you like in the gym for like the gymnastics ones. I also did YMCA gymnastics. I didn't excel to like crazy or anything, you know, I just stayed there. And then I did like one week, I did like a summer camp at an actual like gymnastics camp. But I remember like they would have like the blow up thing where you would do like the back handsprings and all that kind of stuff. Yep. And then I never did any sport with a like a ball or anything. I did like soccer, you know. I have no like hand-eye coordination, so those sports I just never like stuck along with it for long. And then I also had a cheer era for like a year, and I absolutely hated it. I think I like begged my mom to do it, and then so when I got into it, I like wanted to quit, and she was like, "Nope, you're gonna see it through." And I hated it. Like if there's any pictures of me, I'm not smiling. Like all the girls are like smiling up there, you know, doing their thing. I absolutely hated it. I despised it. Not a good time for me. But yeah, other than that, I just did like swimming, and then I did running. But I did swimming for a long time. I'm surprised I didn't get those swimmer shoulders, which I'm so thankful for that I didn't get the swimmer shoulders.
Yes, and I would say like cheer is another thing. Okay, I don't want to say cheer isn't like we don't have good cheer in Kentucky because we definitely do. Like in terms of like all star cheering, like we have some really good high schools. But I feel like in our city specifically, like there wasn't options for like good cheerleading either. So yeah, we were set up to fail.
Good thing that we didn't try out to be like professionals or anything. That would have been real embarrassing for us.
That part. And also, Liz reminded me that I was a runner for a couple of weeks. But we'll get into that in the high school section. But it's so funny because our friends have a joke that like Liz wasn't on the swim team, but I'm always that supporter. I'm like, she was on the swim team. But yeah, it's like it's so funny to think of Elizabeth as a swimmer, which honestly I'm like it's crazy like to feel like us talking about us doing sports now because I feel like if someone met us like as we are now, they'd be like, y'all did sports. Like I feel like that's like so removed from like our personality now.
Yes, it is like years ago, especially like swimming because I stopped swimming like my in high school, like my senior year, I think. No, my sophomore year. We'll get into that specifically. But yeah, all my friends would like joke like they're like, no, like you didn't do swimming, like blah blah blah. The swimming was like my when I was younger sport. Like I was like 7 years old and I was doing swimming, y'all. Running was like a little later on, but yeah. And we're gonna go ahead and get into our middle school sports era now.
Yeah, for me, sixth grade, I didn't do any sports. I did like I think honestly sixth grade was like the only year where I really wasn't like doing anything like sports wise or like activity wise, which is weird because growing up every year I was doing something, Girl Scouts, dance, blah blah blah. But then the following year, like going into seventh grade, I tried out for the middle school cheer team. That's kind of where like my cheer journey really started. I also remember in eighth grade, I believe, I tried out for the volleyball team because my friends at the time were also trying out for us. It's like, sure, why not? And whew, I sucked so bad. It's just like, ooh. Oh wait, I forgot to mention. Okay, sorry guys. In fifth grade, I did like a little sports club type beat because for some reason the year me and Elizabeth were in fifth grade, there was always like a basketball team that only the fifth graders could join. But for some reason our year they didn't do it. So instead they did like sports club where we just kind of like played different sports. So like that was my thing. In fifth grade. I'm sorry, I'm going like all over the place, you guys.
The way I do not recall this at all, I'm like sitting here thinking, I don't think I was in the sports club, but if I don't even remember. I don't remember that at all. But middle school, so me, I that's when I was doing both running. So I did cross country in like the fall because that's the fall season, and then in the spring is track. And then I was also doing swimming. Across like the running sports, I would do like with the middle school. Yeah, with like the middle school team and everything. And but I feel like the sports I did, I never had to like try out for anything, you know. So I definitely never went through like that stress because I know a lot of people like stress out about like making the team and making like the JV team, the varsity team, which I guess is more like in high school, but also like in middle school, like eighth grade, like you can start playing for like the high school. So like that's a big thing and everything. But I never really had to go through that because I went to a private middle school. So it didn't filter like the team didn't filter into the high school, you know? So I didn't have like none of that stress. It was really like me in sports, it wasn't anything like crazy stressful. It was like something like I knew I had to do, but I wasn't like losing my sleep over it in any means or anything, you know. And then that I would do swimming with a team, not with associated with the school or anything. It was just like a swim team, you know, and we would have practices every single night. They were like 7:30, I think, yeah, like 7:39 or something. So they're like later in the evening times. And I remember whenever we like I wouldn't go for some reason, or I would like pick up my siblings or something, you'd get in the car and it just smelled like chlorine. So I was very much middle school, like for like the longest time, I would just smell like chlorine, I feel like at nights. But yeah, like I said, I didn't really lose my sleep or anything. There was like a couple times in swimming when I made it to like state, which is or you had to like have a certain time to qualify, and then you would compete at the state meet, and then from that it'd be like the best of the state, you know. But I didn't like lose my sleep over it. I wasn't doing nothing crazy. I remember that there would be like in swimming, people would like write on their arms in Sharpie like when it was that they were supposed to swim, because you would have like heats, and then within the heats, no, it'd be like the event, then you'd have heats, and then it'd be like whenever you're supposed to go within that heat. So sometimes it'd be like races where there'd be like, I don't know, like 12 heats or something, and you would have to know like which heat you are. And typically, for the most part, the beginning heats were the slower heats, and then it'd get like faster. So a lot of people would like write it on their arms in like Sharpie and stuff. I was never one of those people. My mom was like, absolutely not. And then I remember vividly, I don't know why this was a thing, but people would like draw on their back and it would say like, eat my bubbles. I don't know if it's like when you're kicking, like the bubble, like like you're behind them. I don't know. There was like some like weird stuff that they would do in swimming that I would never partake in. Like I said, I would like go, I would do my thing, and then I'd like go and chill out with, like in the resting area. Nothing at all crazy.
Yeah, for me, obviously I went to a public middle school, so tryouts. I remember just practicing like so much, like every night before, like leading up. And I told you brother to say why I tried out for cheer was because I tried out for the dance team and I didn't make it, which is good because that's where like all like the popular girlies were at. So I would have been miserable. And it was funny because I remember there's this one girl who we specifically don't like. I'll just say Trumpy one, and Liz will get it because I feel like I can't say the other name. And so she was also trying out for the dance team, and so it's funny because like we all kind of like knew each other. It's just like sixth grade, but this for like the seventh grade, like going into the seventh grade year. And I remember, so we like tried out, and we tried out at like our old like elementary, like not elementary, like kindergarten place, and then we went over to the middle school because that's where the results were going to be posted. And it was funny because like she texted me afterwards. She was like, "Oh, so like, did you make the team?" And I was like, "No, neither did me and my other friends who tried out." Which is like, it's funny because like I feel like it was like a trio of us. I feel like two of us didn't really take it seriously, so it's just like kind of like funny and like laughing during the whole tryout. But anyways, so she texted me, and I was like, "No, we didn't make it," and I think I said something about the lines of like, oh, like I just wasn't good, blah blah blah. And she was like, "No, you aren't terrible," or something like that. I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I didn't say it. I don't know. That's just like a funny little thing I remember. But yeah, I tried out for the cheer team. I remember being kind of stressed for that. It was like a lot of people. But I made it. I made it on the seventh grade team. It was like the seventh grade team and then the eighth grade team. And like if you were like a seventh grader and you're good enough, you were like a seventh grader but on the eighth grade team. But I was, just on the seventh grade team. I guess I wasn't special enough. JK, but you just played like this, you just cheered at the seventh grade games. I feel like we didn't necessarily have like much drama in terms of like within like the team ourselves. I'm sure there was, but like it's been so long I can't remember. I just remember having like terrible coaches and that caused a lot of disarray. I remember one time our coach literally just walked out in the middle of practice, and we were all like, "What?" Which I'm like, now that I'm older and I think about that, I'm like, why are you walking out on a for a bunch of like 11-year-olds? Like, we were all just like, what? And then I remember we did compete at Jam Fest one year, which was fun. Like, I don't know, that's like the side of cheer that I like, is like competing, but even if we weren't good enough compared to the other schools, but it was just fun. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I would say our cheer team, all the years I was on it, we weren't the best, but we had fun. That's all that matters, especially in middle school. But I don't know, I feel like cheerleading in our town just kind of has like died down over years. I feel like when I definitely got into it wasn't when it was kind of like declining, but that's just how it works. Things ebbs and flow. But yeah, I can't really think of any like super funny stories. I remember one time, we had like a UCA like cheer camp. Like they would come in, help teach us things, like especially for like our competition routine for the year. And mind you, we're in middle school. We're like 11, 12 years old, and these UCA cheer girls come in and they're like grown adults. And I just remember one of them being like so rude and mean, and she'd be like, "No, like when you stunt, you need to do it like this," and like try to stunt, and we're like, "Girl, we cannot lift you." Like, we are 11 years old, we cannot lift you up. But I just remember like little funny things like that, and just like having bad coaches. But that's like pretty much all I can say for like middle school. So yeah, I feel like those are good character building moments, because like I don't necessarily like fear of rejection, because it's like I didn't make the dance team, didn't make the volleyball team, and it's just like I know I just kind of laughed it off. I was just like, oh, like I didn't make it, like it didn't really hurt my feelings, probably because I didn't really care that much about them. But yeah, cheer was my thing, which little did I know I was starting years of trauma, JK. But yeah, so that's pretty much my middle school thing. I feel like we were just probably a little wild sometimes, which like some parents probably had problems with, because they're like, you guys need to be cheering, not talking, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's my little stories from middle school.
I definitely had that. Like, you need to be like doing like focusing on the sport and like not like talking and everything, especially in, like swimming. Because the way like swim practices work is you're like the lanes are divided by like the speed of the people. Like more beginner people are like in a different lane, like faster people are in a different lane. Like that kind of thing. And then so the like coach will give you like sets that you do, and there's always like an unofficial order to like who is going first in your lane. So like the faster people will go first, and then like the slower people go towards the back of the lane. And then when you like finish your set, there's like a clock. I like remember it. There's this clock that's like specifically for like swimming, because it has like, I don't know if they tell you like on the 40 each time, like 40 seconds each time, like that's when your new set starts or whatever. So sometimes we'd be like, if I was like the leader in my like lane or something, there'd be times where like I'd be just like hanging out with my friends and just laughing. Like we would finish our thing, and then we would just be like like having conversation, like talking, and then our coach would be like you're late, you need to like go, like you're like behind. And I'm like, I feel like I never took my sports as seriously as other people did, because like I knew I wasn't going anywhere in this sport. And I knew not necessarily like I didn't have the talent for it, because I feel like if I did apply myself, maybe I could have like, I don't know, done it in college or something, but definitely not at a professional level. But I like knew like that's not something I was interested in. So I'm like, I didn't take it as seriously as other people. So I definitely would have those moments where the coach would be like you're behind, like you need to go, like you need to do more swimming, less talking, like that kind of thing. And it'd be like, whatever. But yeah, I don't have any like crazy middle school lore stories.
Yeah, that reminds me how it's just like you just like don't take it as seriously. I mean, I definitely agree. I feel like not with cheerleading, maybe. Well, maybe I definitely could have applied myself more in that, but like more so with like gymnastics. I feel like I probably could have been more serious about that. But your story about the coach yelling just remind me. In like middle school, of course, I'm with my friends, and me and my one friend at the time, we were laughing, and our coach was like, "You guys need to stop laughing." Oh, it was like her and then another girl too, and basically we had to do burpees because we kept laughing and talking. And I'm just like, punishment like that when you're that young, like it becomes even funnier. So here we are doing burpees, like on the verge of like dying. in tears because it's just so funny. But yeah, that's just something I remember. But yeah, now we can get into our high school and what we did in high school.
So me, I just kind of continued, the swimming and the running thing. I didn't do anything like I feel like I never like tried out for any other sports or anything. I wasn't interested in them. And honestly, I feel like a lot of sports are like things with balls, and I have no hand-eye coordination. And I feel like it's those sports that like if you didn't start it when you were younger, you're not like making it far now in high school. Like soccer, for example, if you didn't do that in middle school or younger than that, like you're not making the team now. It's not the time to be trying it out for fun, which I feel like honestly has its negative, its cons, to it. Because like if you're just trying to do it for fun, like you can't, but anyways, that's a different conversation. But I did the same my freshman year. I did both swimming and running at the same time, and then after that I like quit swimming. I don't remember why I quit. I think it was just like I felt like I didn't have enough time, like I wasn't like consistent with the practices, because I would have like my swim practices would be in the evening, like at 7:30, and then I would get out of school like 3:30, run until like 5. So then I would only have like 2 hours before I had to be in the pool and like eating and then homework. And then I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. Like a lot of my friends weren't really doing it anymore, or they were going like at different times for practices and everything. So I wasn't enjoying it anymore. So then that's when I was kind of like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like the fun of it wasn't there anymore. So then, and my mom was like paying for it, and I wasn't even going. So it was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna quit, and I'm just gonna do like running. But my freshman year, when I did both, and I think that was the key. I did both my freshman year, and I had like running wise, I was doing like really really good. I was like cutting time every single race. I was like running really well. I remember like in track, there'd be like times where like the coach would be like, oh, because everybody had like these matching backpacks that they had got the year before I joined, and she was like, oh, I have an extra one. Like if you make like a certain time at this race, then like I'll give you the backpack. And like I made the time, I did better than the time and everything. Like I was doing really good running wise my freshman year, but I really think it's because I was doing both. Because then later on, when I quit swimming, I kind of like my peak of running kind of like deteriorated a bit. Like I wasn't bad or anything, but I just wasn't performing like I had been doing my freshman year, which was kind of like, it was kind of like, again, like I didn't take it like super seriously, but at the same time it did kind of hurt though, because I was like dang, like I was doing so well, like what happened, like my peak is gone. I guess I just had a freshman peak and that's it. Like I still enjoyed it and everything, but it just wasn't like the same. I don't know. Something had changed a little bit, but I definitely think it's like I said, because I quit the swimming. That was the only thing that was different in my life, was swimming was no longer a thing. But other than that, I think that's like all I did my freshman year, my high school career.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I could relate to some parts where you're just like, you're not really like having fun anymore. You're not performing as well as you did. So it's just kind of like, what am I really doing here? But for me, the main thing I'll talk about is like cheerleading. Of course, I did cheer all 4 years. And I would say this is when my love for cheer started to die. But listen, now that I'm older, I say that like I'm really just 22. Uh, but now that I have like some separation from it, I definitely can like look back like, oh, like the fond memories. But when I was in the thick of it, like it was really so bad. Like I literally love cheer, you guys. Like I stayed watching cheerleading YouTube videos, all that type of stuff. But literally it came to a point in high school where like I literally could not see anything cheer, hear about cheer outside of like practice or anything, because I would just have so much anxiety. Like I just could not deal with it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So I did cheer, obviously. I was really nervous going into it freshman year because it's like, oh my gosh, like high school, like the high school cheer team, like da 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 da. There were so many people trying out this year too, and I was just so nervous. I didn't think I was really gonna have the skill sets, but thankfully it was like this coach's like last year, so I feel like she was feeling like a little bit more generous. So like a lot more people made the team than probably would have. So yeah, ended up making the team, and wow. I just like in general, like, I don't know, it's hard to explain because it's like there are so many good moments and experiences that I wouldn't take back, but it's definitely like not the best leadership, which I feel like leadership is the foundation in a team sport like cheerleading. And especially when we're going through competitions and being together so much. So it's like when the leadership foundation is rocky and they're not showing up. I've had coaches really quit halfway through the season. We're just left stranded and it's just no communication, then it definitely just like trickles on and we're not performing the best. And so I would say, I don't know, like it was definitely like learned a lot of skills and stuff, but at the same time it was like honestly like some of the girls were just like so mean. It was so clicky, and I just would like dread doing anything cheerleading sometimes. But and I remember there was like this one little drama, like we had to have a little moment, which I'll get into what the moment is called later because I feel like it falls into one of our questions later, where like the seniors were being so mean to us freshmen that we had to have a talk about it. And like I just sometimes so wish that like I was kind of more outspoken back then as I feel like I am now, because I would have stood up for myself. I would have gone off on them, okay? But back then I just like didn't have the confidence yet to, but it's just like, ugh, like I hated it. But again, there's just like so many like good memories and stuff though. And then I do know there's kind of like, of course, high school games are bigger. So I feel like you just hear more input from parents. I remember there was like this one drama that happened, that it was this girl in the stands, like her daughter was in high school, but she wasn't even on the cheer team or anything like that. But she was just like, she made like a post about us on Facebook and was like, someone needs to tell like the blank blank county cheerleaders that like they need to like smile more and blah 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 blah. Mind you, this is a grown woman talking about high schoolers, high school cheer. Like at the end of the day, it's really not that serious, you know what I mean? And then she actually ended up approaching one of the girls on the cheer team at like a school event, talking to her about it, like how basically we need to be better. I was like, girl, that is so weird. And I remember like one of the cheer parents kind of like said something during a game, and like the mom who posted about it said nothing. She was just like silent. I was like, that just sums up living in like a smaller town. Like people be having Facebook fingers, but in person they have nothing to say. But yeah, I would say football season was like my favorite season. I hated basketball season because that's when we actually had to like do stuff. But I just love football season. I just prefer football over basketball, I think, and like the live band. I don't know, it was just great vibes. I low key loved when it started to get cold and we would all bundle up in our warm ups. I don't know, it was just like it was a lot more enjoyable. But I definitely like Liz. I just felt like I just wasn't having fun at some points. It definitely was very, very, very time consuming. Like it literally ran my life because it's like I had cheer practice, but then I also had like tumbling practice outside of that. And then I felt like there was definitely a point where I was performing like my best. Like I would say freshman year, like I was definitely improving. And then sophomore year was like my peak of like my performance. And then I feel like junior year, it was like okay. And then like senior year was just a mess because like COVID, and that's when it just really went down the drain. So that just kind of like, I think senior year, like I kind of wish I didn't do cheer because it was a mess because of COVID, and just like I just was not into the whole cheer thing anymore, and that was just like a difficult time for everybody. So yeah, I would say that's my biggest thing are competitions. I actually like competing that year, except again, I like honestly hated most of my teammates because they were so mean. But I would say the more the years passed and the more mean girls that left, honestly, the more fun I had, and more fun at like competitions and stuff. Of course, the rivalry was fun, like against like the other like teams, especially because we had this thing called districts, and it's like not only were the teams being graded, but also like the cheerleaders we were being like scored with our performance during the game. So that was like a really fun time. But again, it's just like some people, like Elizabeth talked about how like some people just like took it more seriously than others. And I feel like for me that kind of like killed the vibe because it's just like you're sucking the fun out of actually everything. But yeah, and of course there's also like those funny chaotic moments. But I would say that's all for cheer. My junior year before COVID hit, I did like join the track team. There wasn't like tryouts, but I started it, and then it was like I'm so like this is horrible to say, but I'm kind of glad COVID came because if I had to compete, I would have been sick. Like I realized like after the deposit was paid that like oh like I actually hate this. I don't want to do this, but it was too late, and then thankfully COVID came. That's so terrible to say, but yeah, I did track for a couple of weeks. It was definitely something that got me out of my comfort zone, which I'm like low key glad I did it because it kind of taught me more about like how to actually run better and like warm ups for running, because I feel like running on the treadmill is like my main workout now. Like that's all I have to do. So I'm glad I did have track to help me with like those fundamentals of running. But yeah, I'm just glad it never panned out, and I'm glad I never had to do it again.
That's just like the comparison of like Kennedy's experience with sports and mine. I'm like, that shows you the difference of like sports that are people pay more attention to, you know, like the parents and everything is actually insane. Because all the sports like running, it was one of those sports that like you only really knew about it if you were in it, you know, like and like our team, like my freshman, sophomore, junior year, like it was pretty good. Like the girls and guys team freshman and sophomore year were like really good, and then freshman, sophomore, junior year, the female team was really good. Like we made it to state like every single year except my senior year. And yeah, we made it to state every single year. And I'm like, the football team didn't make it to state every single year. But anyways, they're not ready for those conversations. But yeah, it just like shows you like the difference of how much attention like the sport gets and like the different experience, because all like the parents in our like little group or whatever, like granted there weren't that many of us, but like all the parents were like at the meets and everything, like they would be cheering on you. Like sometimes I'd be hearing people like cheer my name and I didn't know who they were, or like sometimes we'd be at meets with like the rival high school in town, and like even those people would be like cheering for you too, you know, they'd be like, oh, like go like county, like go like blah blah blah. So that just like shows you like the difference, I feel like, because that's crazy. Making a Facebook post is insane. Like grown woman going on there to rant about these teenagers. Like, do you have nothing else to do with your life? They truly don't have nothing else to do with their lives. But yeah. And then the other thing that Kenny brought up, oh, like this the coaches and like the environment, I feel like is definitely like what makes it or breaks it, your experience and everything. Because with like swimming, I always had like the same coaches. Like my coaches were great, the environment was great and everything, but just like kind of like when my friends stopped going, like I was kind of like, since I'm not in this like that deep, you know, as other people, I'm like, I'm not enjoying it as much, you know. And then same with like running, kind of like my senior year, I was like doing it at that point to finish, you know, because I was like, this is like my last year, and I wanted like the court and like that kind of stuff that I would get for doing it all 4 years. But like I would like be like, it would truly take everything out of me, especially the track season. I hated track season, you guys. As a like long distance runner, all the long distance runners, I feel like I can say this, they only do track to stay in shape for when cross country comes back again, and like you're out of shape, but you're not that out of shape, you know? Because I absolutely hate a track, you know? I feel like distance wise, like the long distance people, we had more consistent coaching and stuff. But I feel like the sprinters, it didn't have that consistent coaching for like a bit. And then that would affect us because like it'd be like one team, you know? But it just felt like it felt like two teams to me. I don't know. It felt like it was the sprinters and then it was like the long distance people, you know, like just you coexisted, but like you didn't really mingle and stuff. And like at meets and stuff, I hated riding the bus back because it'd be like all the sprinters are done, but they have to wait for the long distance people to finish like the very last race. And then it's kind of like, I don't know, like the vibes are always off to me. So I did not like track. I only liked cross country. But yeah, it really just shows like the environment can make or break the experience.
Yeah, and on the track thing, another thing why I didn't like track, other than like, because I hate running, I didn't like the people on the track team either. I was just like, ew, your attitude stink.
Exactly why I would keep my distance and just talk to the distance runners.
But yeah, then that's pretty much all for like high school we can say. Also, there's like another funny thing I thought of when Elizabeth was talking earlier about how like high school sports is like, it's not really the time to try out something new. It just reminded me, we're like, it was kind of like a joke. We're like half serious, like, oh, let's do the tennis team, like tennis club or whatever. But then the like main coach of it was like, if you have no experience, don't show up. I'm like, okay, bet. If you don't want no newbies, we won't come, and then y'all won't have a tennis team. And that's that. You don't know. I could have been the next Coco Golf, and you wouldn't even know because you said no beginners. I mean, I wasn't really that serious about it, but like, I could have been something, and you stopped me.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like we should have like, you know, obviously the people who want to do it, and then kind of like in college, like you have like intramurals, like that kind of thing. They need to do that in high school because I feel like, you know, exercise is important. We need to get out there and do something. But if they're completely shutting you down, you're not going to do it at all.
Exactly. And now we're gonna kind of go into like a deep talk moment about sports, because who do we be without a deep talk moment? Like that's something we're always gonna do. So I just have a couple questions we're gonna kind of like shape this conversation around. So in terms of personality, I don't know necessarily if I would say cheer. Okay, I would say cheer shaped my personality in the way that like I definitely was putting it on a front a lot of the times because like I just had to. But I would feel like now maybe I'm a bit more like honest of like how I'm feeling. Oh, actually, yes, I would say it shaped my personality in the sense of like what I just said, and also it gave me the more confidence to like speak up because I'm like I would never let someone kind of treat me the way that I was treated during my cheer years. So I'd say it helped me be more confident, like sticking up and be like, if I don't want to do something, I don't want to do it, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Kennedy. I don't think it like shaped my person. I don't think it made my personality. I think that's the right words. Like, I wouldn't say like I'm not who I am. Like, if I hadn't done these sports or like done this stuff, I wouldn't be where I am today. Like, no, it's not because of the sports or any of that. But like personality wise, I feel like it allowed me to like kind of have like not positive, but like a good competitive nature because I feel like my experience with sports, it wasn't like crazy competitive as to some people. Because I know some people who like did sports, they're like too competitive. Like everything is competitive, and there's a game, and there's a winner, and there's a loser, and that's like an excessive amount. But I feel like in a good way, I can be competitive, but I can also like tone it down. Like. So I feel like it did affect me in that way. Like it gave me a balance. It gave me a good balance of like who to be and everything. It also did give me like some discipline, but I feel like that's not really personality, like personality wise, it didn't shape me, but I think that it did give me like good traits and like good quality traits and things like that to that I like implement in my life or I should implement more. But like the discipline, like, like going to practice every day, and it always be like at a certain time, like that kind of thing, or like commitment wise, like those types of things. I think that it did allow me like time management, like all that stuff. But I don't think it shaped my personality. And I'm honestly glad that I didn't have that experience because I know a lot of people like they are their sport. Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't have that. I think I would be so insufferable if that happened. So I'm so glad that didn't happen. Those like people, red flag.
Yeah, I would say I agree. For me, like my sports kind of gave me discipline, and also it gave me practice on how to deal with difficult people and like coexist with people you don't like. And then, and there was something else you said that I was gonna think about, or that I was gonna say, but I can't remember. But yeah, it just really helped me with discipline and just working with difficult. Oh, I remember. Along with the discipline, it like showing up and just like if I start something, I'm gonna finish it. Like it really helped with that mindset because like I hated track, but best believe if COVID didn't happen, I was gonna be there all the way to the end of the season, and also that like it gave me because I was never on like the best of the best like teams or anything. It kind of just like losing didn't really like turn my whole world upside down like it does with other people. It kind of like not getting things, losing just kind of like helped me like just think of losses in a different way and just kind of reflect on like oh like this is what we can do better next time and just like not be so consumed to just think of like oh well we can do better next time like and kind of like look at the positives where it's like, okay, we might have not won this, but like this is where we improved in other areas.
Yeah, that's a good point because I definitely like I would finish like my meet or whatever, and out of sight, out of mind. If I didn't perform like I wanted to, whatever, like it's not the end of the world. So I think it really did. Like I like that part. And then the next thing is kind of just like, did it like feed our egos or be delusional athletes? I don't think it personally fed my ego. I think maybe like, and I wouldn't even consider this feeding my ego. Like my freshman year, I did think like okay, like I'm good, like I can do this. But I wasn't like cocky about it, or anything. Like I've always been pretty like humble in that kind of sense and everything. Or like even in swimming, like whenever I would make it to like state or something, I wasn't like I'm the best here. Like nothing like that by any means. I think if anything, it kind of like made me more realistic because then you'd like be able to like compare like to other people or like other things. Like you weren't the best of the best. Like yes, you were good, but you weren't like the best out of every single person here. So I don't think it fed my ego at all. And then delusional, I don't think I was a delusional athlete. I think I was very realistic compared to other people. Yeah, I think I was a very realistic athlete.
Yeah, I would say it didn't really affect me at all. I don't know. Maybe Elizabeth can say more because she saw me from an outside perspective. But like for me, I'm like, I never was like, I'm a cheerleader and better than you. I just like, no, because cheerleading was was making my mental health worse. So why would I think that? I would say I was thinking like maybe in middle school, but not even. I would just think I think I was just like annoying because I was in middle school. Like that's just that. Like I was a hot mess. But I think that's just because I was in middle school, like I said. But no, I never thought like I was too good. or like better than other athletes. I actually, matter of fact, just always felt like I'm not good enough. So that's where that happened. And yeah, and then like another thing that kind of lays into it, because we're like not necessarily, we didn't have really big egos or delusional. There wasn't really a difference between our reality and how we thought we looked. I would say definitely my kind of way of like thinking about that is like, sometimes you don't realize how bad you look, if that makes sense. Until like other people point it out, but at the same time, it's like it kind of taught me like another lesson. Like some people are gonna have their opinions no matter what, and they don't understand like what's really going on behind the scenes, and that really affects how we look on the outside. If that makes sense.
Yes, people always gonna have their opinion. That's one thing. They're always gonna be thinking when it's not needed. So yeah, that's all I have on that.
That part. It's just like I'm just doing like a little example. Like obviously, I mean Elizabeth was there. Our cheer team was not the best, and it just got worse over the season. I mean, obviously we did have those times where we looked really good, but it's like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, like our cheer team sucks, blah blah blah. But like a lot of people did not know all the scenes, the behind the scenes. Like they don't know that like a day or two we just learned what we're performing in front of you guys, and we just had like a 2 hour practice because it's like our foundation was already shaking. Like there's so much behind the scenes that goes on, and that's why we looked a mess, and mixed with like our talent necessarily isn't being like fostered. We just kind of throw things together. So yeah, that's all I have to say. I don't really know how to close out that statement.
I'll close it out for you. And now we're gonna go ahead and get into our last little conclusion wrap up moment, kind of just like our overall thoughts on our little sports era. For me, I don't necessarily like miss it. Like I miss the consistency that I had when I did it, which is what I need to like get on with, like being consistent and like working out and doing something. Cause I feel like at the end of the day, what it did for me is it kept me like in shape, like running every single day or like swimming every single day, like that's a form of like deep exercise that you wouldn't be getting any other way. Like if I hadn't done the sports, I would not be like in shape like I was back then. So I think what I miss is like the consistency of me doing that, because not even necessarily like how I looked, because like that was a like a teenage body, and like now my body's like completely different. Like even if I continue to do that like rigorous workout and everything, it would not look like I did in like high school. And that's just like, that's just normal and everything. But I don't like really miss it, honestly. Like I'm not like those were the days or anything, because I know a lot of people like they do miss like their high school sports era, like football players and stuff. They're like those were the days and everything. That no, I'm glad it's like over. Like it was a chapter that needed to close and everything. I don't regret it. Like honestly, I would do it all over again. Just because of the benefits that it gave me and everything. But I like being now sports girl or whatever. I like watching stuff more or like keeping up with things in that way rather than like actually being like involved in the sport.
Yeah, I would agree. I definitely miss kind of like the consistency of like being active. I know a lot of people kind of like on a body image talk. They're like, oh, like I miss my body when I was being that active. But for me, I just miss how active I was being active. Because I feel like personally for me, my body looks the best now that I'm older. Because I feel like back then I still kind of had like baby fat and stuff like that. But yeah, I just miss how like active I was being active, and just how like I feel like it was a lot more. A lot more lighter on my feet. I definitely was a lot more flexible. That is something I miss. I want to get back to my flexibility because I know that's like important for you as you get older and like for your bones. So I definitely want to get back to like stretching every day, and like hopefully I can do a good toe touch by the end of next year or something. But yeah, overall I don't really miss being like a sports girl in the sense of like being a athlete. I kind of wish, or I don't know, I don't have any regrets, but like in a way with kind of like the sports I'm into watching this stuff now, I'm like, like what if I would have like taken up tennis when I was younger? But like that just wasn't really like a thing. I feel like here, like it was either you do this or this, and like you have no other options really. And I feel like our hometown necessarily isn't a breeding ground of like professional athletes, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I don't really miss it, but I kind of wish I kind of had the options, or not options, I just wish there are more actually like good resources available to actually like be like a good like dancer, like things like that. But it's just like it's whatever now. And like Liz, I just rather would watch stuff now. My obviously, if you're not new here, my sports are F1 and tennis. So like I just like watching sports now, and like same with gymnastics. I used to be traumatized, not anymore. I It was funny because we were having a talk about like some high school wear, and like I like gave away like my high school cheer uniforms and like my graduation gown to Goodwill, and it's just like I don't know, I just felt like that was like good to like close that chapter and just really like give all that stuff away. But now I can like look on it fondly and just be like, I appreciate the good moments.
And like, don't get me wrong, like I enjoy now like going out, like sometimes like me and Kenny and like we'll go with Jill or something to the pickleball courts, and we literally don't even, I think like that's like the positive competitiveness in us, like we're really just there for fun. Like we don't keep track, we don't follow the rules, we're literally just passing the ball. But like with other people I've gone to play and things like that, and it's like they're so competitive and take it so seriously. That's just not me. It will never be me. And yeah, so I will only like play sports or like do that kind of stuff with people that I know aren't like taking it seriously, because as soon as I see a sign of them taking it seriously, I'm going to remove myself from the equation, from the situation, because just why, it's literally like it's never been that deep. It never was back then, and it still is not that deep.
Know that part. Like, no one is gonna kill my mood faster than someone who is so competitive. Like, I actually hate people who suck the fun out of actually everything.
And then our next little wrap up conclusion question is, if you could relive one moment, what would it be? For me, I think I would relive like in general the practices. I think the practices were always like the warm up part of practices were always fun, like in cross country, and just like before they would tell us like the workout or whatever, it just be fun, just like talking with your coaches, you're like warming up, talking with the girls, with the guys and everything, and just like kind of like catching up on like what happened in the day or whatever. And honestly, just like the team bonding of like struggling through it, because I remember there'd be sometimes where we'd have like workouts. Kennedy will know where I'm talking about, at the soccer fields over like not the high, yeah, but not the high, the other soccer fields. Yeah, we'd have like workouts over there, like do running up the hills and like doing all this other stuff, and they were hard, and we would struggle together because we would all have to do them. So yeah, just like the team bonding of it, I that's one thing that I did enjoy.
I would say for me, any of like the good like team bonding, fun moments from middle school, because I feel like that was like the most like pure like cheerleading fun. Like we were just having fun. Like of course there was probably drama that I can't remember that like consumed me at the time, but it was just like so fun, even if things were a mess. And it's like we were cringe, but we were free. You know what I mean? Like and we just had so much fun. So I would like relive like those moments if I had to, because it was just like so much fun and just like laughter. Like I remember one time we had like a team bonding thing and we had like a little, it was like cheer camp, that's what it was. And we like had cheer camp and then we kind of like all spent the night in a hotel. So like just like fun things like that. We just had freaking fun and we were just young, and so I would relive any of like those moments. And yeah.
It's always the fun. When it stops being fun, that's when it goes downhill, you guys. And I feel like the coaches, you would think that they would know that. I feel like, because I feel like most of them were also, they did that sport or like they have some connection to that sport. So you think that they would know, but apparently they don't know that.
Yeah, which coaches could be a whole another experience. Which, like, low key, you guys, I'm pretty sure I still have an audio from when I had my own podcast a long time ago from my high school cheer episode. So if you guys want me to do like a release of it, director's uncut or whatever, let me know. A little bonus episode. But yeah, last thing is we're gonna talk about one thing from that era that would cancel us today. And honestly, low key, not a lot, but I kind of alluded to this earlier when we would have little talks, aka the moment where the freshmen and the seniors need to have a little talk because they were so mean to us. Our coach called it a powwow. Now there ain't a single Native American in that room, so I feel like if anything, that would probably be the most cancelable. Because what do you mean we're having a powwow right now? But yeah, I don't know even if that would necessarily be like cancelable today. But like it would definitely be like a powwow. What are you talking about?
I'm like sitting here really thinking. I'm like thinking back to conversations and stuff and like away trips. Honestly, I don't think that there was anything that would cancel us. Cross country, like the runners, we were just like chilling. I don't think that there was anything cancel worthy, which I feel like is a good thing, because I don't know why. My mind's going to like really bad like cancel stuff. And none of that's coming to mind. So I think we're in the clear.
Yeah, I would agree. We didn't necessarily have that type of stuff at my school, thankfully. But yeah, I feel like maybe in other areas of school, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel
But
like
that's not for today.
maybe some other sports would definitely have some cancel worthy stuff.
Yeah, but listen, that's not our story to tell today, guys. Maybe if you guys like this podcast, we can make a Patreon and then we can really spill the tea. We'll name drop and everything.
And with that, that is the end of our episode for today. We hope you guys got to learn, got to know us a little bit more. You know, I feel like we've actually never talked about this. Like, we'd be talking about other sports that we're watching, F1, tennis, all this other stuff, but we never talk about like us. So let us know down in the comments. Did you think that we did sports? Did you not think? What kind of vibe do we give now? I'm actually really curious. Make sure you guys are following us on all of our social medias. Make sure you're giving this show a 5, rating it, liking it, commenting, and we'll see you guys next week. And don't forget, you better be reading the book club book, Everything I Know About Love. If you don't have it, this is your chance to go ahead, go to your cute little bookstore, go buy it, Amazon Prime it, whatever you need to do, but get you that book and start reading it. Bye.
Bye.